Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Chat with Lindsay and Neely.
Hello.
Uh,
How's it going,
Jen,
y'all?
Jen is here. She gets the gold star for first in the chat this morning. She says,
I
"Good
don't,
day,
it's gonna give
everyone."
me a thumb. There it goes.
There we go.
Thumbs up, Jen.
Fucking fireworks.
Welcome. How are you feeling?
Um, the fireworks are not working. Sherry is here also. Good morning, Sherry and Blaze. Good morning. It will not give fireworks today, apparently.
Mine doesn't like me either.
Um, and Rickwin is here. Hello. And yes. All right. Do you have your coffee this morning?
No, I do have
Well,
a mug this morning.
what do you have?
It's not morning for me, it's afternoon. Um, I currently have a chocolate mint keto chow with some of the perfect keto chocolate MCT oil powder and then water and then an extra scoop of protein in it for my
Wow,
hot peppermint chocolate situation here.
that sounds great.
Largely because I had made it for breakfast and then promptly got very distracted by all of the tasks and
Mhm.
was like, you know what? Let's heat that up and let's drink that at coffee chat time.
Excellent.
Cheers.
Well,
And what
I
have you?
also don't have coffee because I finished it before we started. But I do have my electrolytes, so
Oh, I also have my electrolytes. What
we're all
flavor are
good.
you drinking today?
Citrus, I think. Element
Okay.
citrus. Mhm.
I have Mondo Melon from Salty, which I did buy two full bags of the Mondo Melon from KetoChow when they had their sale at New
Yeah,
Year's for extra percent off. I was like, sold. Mondo Melon
yeah.
is one of my top favorites.
Is that one going away? Is that why it was on
No,
sale?
I'm not exactly certain why they put that one on sale. I mean, they
Maybe
did
they
have
have
Citrus Splash on sale because that one is going to be retired, but and they had one other one maybe on sale.
maybe.
I
I don't
can't
remember.
quite remember, but I got two bags of Mondo Melon because I
Excellent.
personally love Mondo Melon.
Excellent. Excellent. Vivan is here, finally made alive. So welcome.
Welcome.
Suzanne, good morning. And Eva, hello. Jen said, I figured I would say good day since it is a different time for everyone. That is so smart. Well, it could be night for somebody. So good day and good night. Risa is here. Good afternoon. I've got an espresso coffee with zero sugar, peppermint syrup, collagen, and keto
Okay,
cream. So she's got the
fantastic.
peppermint or the mint going on as well. And
It's a
Lynette
good
is
flavor.
here.
Hi,
Yay.
Lynette.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
go ahead.
as for the Risa's comment about collagen,
Mm,
I don't know about y'all, but I have struggled. Like, okay, let me pause and think about this the way I want to say it. There are so many products in my pantry, on my storage shelf, in my like supplements cabinet. There's so many
mhm,
things because I get very excited about things, get all in on them, and then promptly forget about them. Um, which is it's a habit that I'm trying to break. So
mhm,
no
mhm.
admonishment. I'm working at it. But one of the things that I am trying to do right now, and this will ebb and flow just like the tide comes in and out, I'm trying to refocus on collagen because I fear my
Mm,
skin is just like struggling. And I think that it is claimed like type 1 is the one that's intended for skin improvement. So I'm trying to get
mhm,
more get more in there because I don't know how many of y'all have noticed, but at least since like September, I have been struggling with my skin and I
mm.
can't quite put my finger on it. But I also know that I have been inconsistent at a lot of things. So Risa talking about collagen sort of triggered my memory there for a minute, and
Yes.
I'm trying to
Yes,
make sure I'm using
I
those
have
things I have.
right. I have so many different collagens because so many different companies make collagens,
That's right.
that we
Yep.
work with, like Perfect Keto and Marigold Foods and Equip makes
Love
some, and so
marigold.
it's just like and they're all good, they're all great flavors, and so I there's
Yes.
no reason in the world for me not to get my collagen in.
Yep.
But it's still one of those things where I fall out of the habit of doing it,
Right. Absolutely. Or you fall out of the habit of it, and then you rediscover it in your cabinet, and you're like, I'm going whole hog, and then you forget about everything else while you work on that one, and you're just like, this is a bad cycle. How on earth do we fit in all the things consistently to make an impact? I
Yes.
think
Oh, well, and
simplicity is probably better.
this will tie into what I wanted to mention later, but you don't have to buy the fancy flavored collagens in order to
What?
get the results, to get the collagen in. You can do that through making bone broth, soups, cooking,
100.
like a roast with a bone in it. There's so many frugal ways to get collagen in. The
Oh
flavored
yeah.
collagens are super fun and
Super fun.
delicious and different,
Yeah.
but you don't have to. There are frugal ways
Unnecessary.
to do it, but we will talk about that, a little bit later here. May is here. Hello. And Jen says, congrats on being a grandma. I am shocked you are old enough. Yeah, I'm
She's
shocked
not.
too.
She's not.
I don't feel like it, but at the same time, I have a 19-year-old daughter who's married. So yep.
These
So
things were
for
bound
those,
to happen.
yeah, for those that haven't heard, my oldest is due with her first baby in August. So I am a grandma. It's very
Yay.
exciting. It's very, very exciting.
But also wild.
Especially because I still have a 6-year-old. So I'm like, this is weird. But I already felt like it was weird because I had an 18-year-old and a 5-year-old at the same time. It's like I'm in
Right.
two separate worlds here. We're,
Yeah.
learning how to drive, getting jobs, and then still doing the potty training and stuff. And it's just like
Yep.
this is so weird.
You're like, that one is capable of self-sufficiency on 93% of all things. And then you've got this one who is capable of self-sufficiency on 7% of all things.
Yet they both
Where are
need
we?
you. They both
Oh
need
yeah.
you, but in very different ways.
Yep.
And I'm not
Yep.
I'm not going to say which one's easier. They're
I
just
don't
very
think
different.
either are easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting. Let's see. Serendipity is here. Lori is here.
Hello.
Howdy, everyone. Happy to make another live.
Yay.
Eva says, will you be talking about the benefits of Elroy yogurt? If anyone has any specific questions about that, we can chat about it. Both Lindsey and I have made it and consumed it and appreciated it. That's not like the topic for today specifically, but we're happy to answer any questions that come up on the live streams. Lynette says natural collagen. Yes. The collagen in the
100%.
bag. I mean, it's collagen, but there's, some processing involved.
Indeed.
Quite a bit of processing, actually.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Risa says, I'm trying not to buy all the new products that are coming out. I'm trying to use what I have in the pantries. Good for you. God bless you.
That's
Yes.
right.
Those pantries. I have
We
a
should.
few pantries. Yeah, I have 2 pantries. I have the upstairs pantry and the basement pantry.
Mhm.
And I have to tell you about we've been we've been at war for the last few weeks. At
Oh,
war with
with whom?
mice/rats in the
Oh
basement.
no.
So we hadn't had much problem in the basement with them that we had
Where's
noticed.
Freddie? Why
Well,
is
it's
it?
not
What
an
is it?
it's we can't have cats inside because Jeff is allergic. That's the problem.
I
So,
see.
I mean,
So,
they should be like
mm,
sitting right outside the house and killing because they're obviously coming in from outside. And
right.
anyways, so we hadn't had problems for a really long time or, kind of false sense of security type thing. And then we started noticing like little holes being chewed in the chicken feed bags and stuff like that. We're like, oh dear. And so we put out uh traps, which we've used before, like under the sink in the kitchen. We've had issues and they work amazingly. It's like mouse after mouse after mouse. They're gone. It's like they knew. It's like they are evolved rats that knew that they were traps and they like we just couldn't get them. And we found that they had chewed a massive hole in like the drywall, and like it was a really big problem. But we finally got, well, we put down like sticky paper, and finally we
Okay.
got
Okay.
one on the sticky paper, but we also got Izzy on the sticky paper
Oh no.
because she heard the rat and she ran downstairs.
To
And so
manage
she got
things.
her foot on the sticky paper, the rat's on the sticky paper still making squeaking noises, and then there was a blanket on the floor, so that's stuck in there as well.
Oh
So we
no.
dealt with that whole situation. That was like a week ago. And there were still things happening. Like we were like, is that the one? Did we get the one? And then we've come to
There's
find out
never one.
the next night there was still evidence of more. And so night before last, the girls woke up to this like noise, and it was a rat that had gotten snapped by a trap, but it was still alive. So it was like
Oh,
flailing around, and this plastic trap
oh,
is banging around everywhere. So we had to deal with that. So far, and then we got another one in an electric trap. So far we've gotten 3, but there was evidence this morning that there was more. There's more.
oh no.
So that's been our fun excitement over the last few weeks.
Well,
And
that's tough.
yeah, we're at war. And so far, they've eaten a lot of sunflower seeds.
Oh, that is not great. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so
I
that's been the excitement.
mm,
But getting 2 in one night, we were just like, yes. But who
okay.
knows how many there are?
Right. All of a sudden it becomes like a sort of like a watch and wait kind of a sport where you're just goggles on, observing all the things. I can
Yes.
remember when we moved to Alaska, the house that we were renting had been, I don't know if it had been occupied for a while or not, but there was evidence of droppings in places. And you'd figure, like a super cold place, of course, they're going to try to get inside places, like
Hmm.
logic.
Hmm.
So we were like, okay, if we get this all cleaned up, hopefully things will be fine. We'll set, a few traps here and there. And one night, we were sitting down in the living room, just me and Jared. We'd put the kids to bed, and all of a sudden we see a mouse race across like the sort of like doorway space that was probably, like 6 feet wide from the living room to the dining area. And Jared, he was like, "What was that?" I was like, "It was a mouse." And so
Mm.
he set some traps, and then we just sort of like turned the TV volume down real low, and then just started listening for it. And that little snap, it was like we were having date night and we were hunting.
It's horrible.
Listen, listen, we
Right.
put a lot of effort into keeping a home that does not have a ton of rat droppings and mouse droppings everywhere. But B, that
Hmm.
food was not cheap, especially in
Hmm.
Alaska. Like, we don't want them eating our food. We don't
Hmm.
want them bringing in diseases. Like, we got to
Yeah.
take care of the humans first. Humans
Yeah.
matter more. And
Yes.
so it was one of those things where we were like, we're in here, we're getting after it, we're doing the things,
Hmm.
manage it.
Yeah. It's pretty brutal. Pretty brutal, especially on the farm. You have to learn about all that stuff. It's like,
Circle of life.
wow.
Woo.
Blaze says, if you take collagen, just remember that you need to also have vitamin C to use it effectively, and also hyaluronic acid will help. You want type 1 and 3 for hair, skin, nails, and joints.
Thank you for
Yes.
that. Also, she followed up with how much.
Oh, okay. Collagen, also, if you are over 50, aim for 40 grams per day. Oh,
What
interesting.
if you're not over 50?
I mean,
What
getting 40 grams
suggestions?
per day is still going to be
It's
good.
pretty solid. It is
And,
pretty
that's,
solid.
I don't know that you'd have to add 40 grams of like the powder per day necessarily,
Supplemental,
because if you
sure.
are
Yeah.
eating a steak or something, it's going to have some. So
Right.
I mean, maybe, yeah, I don't know.
I do wonder, like, gelatin is like the gelling form of collagen, right? So they hydrolyze that to turn it into collagen. True or false? Because I think that the chemical makeup is like practically the same. except they go through a process to convert gelatin into a non-gelling form of itself.
Yes.
Um, and
Yes.
so it's one of those things where like we do put I put gelatin in a lot of stuff just
Yeah.
because I think that it's helpful and useful. And so I can probably lump that in there too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Gelatin and collagen will give you the same benefits. It's the same thing, just uh hydrolyzed. It's almost like it's
Right.
deactivated or something. And sometimes
Right.
you
Some
can,
bond is broken.
yes, and you can do that yourself. Like if you've ever made bone broth and it didn't gel, often it's because you cooked it either too long or too high heat or something, and it did that process to make it not, and so you still get the benefits because it's still there.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't go away, even if your bone broth doesn't gel. So sometimes you have this process down for making broth, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't gel one time. It's still got the benefits. It's just
Yes.
chemistry.
Don't scrap it.
Yeah, exactly. People think it's only beneficial if you get that really good gel, and that's not the case.
It is untrue for sure.
Oh, under 50, aim for 20 grams per day. Excellent.
Easy peasy.
Yes. Okay. Um, oh, wow. Try using softened Tootsie Roll on the claws of the trap. Microwave for a second or two. They can't lick it off and gets them every time. Interesting.
Interesting.
We'd have to go buy Tootsie Rolls. If only it was
Right?
Halloween time, we would probably have some lying around.
Hey, but Valentine's is happening.
That's true. That is
Maybe
true.
maybe the kids will go to a friend Valentine party and be gifted a Tootsie
There
Roll
you go.
situation.
Be gifted some rat bait.
Non-toxic. Non-toxic.
Depending on who you talk to. There's some YouTubers that would say it's toxic and
Yeah.
poison.
Yeah.
Okay. What benefits do you both, if any, experience by consuming the Alroiderai yogurt?
I
What do you think?
find I do not bloat
Mm,
quite as frequently. I can have a tendency, depending on the time of my cycle and whatnot, to bloat, which I think is fairly common. And
mhm,
I do find that I have somewhat of a lower bloat factor whenever I'm consuming it. But I had to go in and restart from scratch
mhm,
when we lost our fridge and freezer. I had a bunch of El Reuterei starter bricks in
mm.
my freezer, and we lost those whenever the fridge
No.
freezer quit. So I've had to start from square one again, and then we had a vacation in the midst and all these
Mhm,
things. So I have not been able to consume my El Reuterei for a little while, and
yeah,
we're trying to get back in that habit. And that's a really
mhm,
great place to mix in some of those flavored collagen powders if you do have
yes.
them lining your shelves.
Yes, totally agree. Okay, so for me, I used the Elroiderai yogurt when I was combating SIBO,
Hmm.
and I had started on antimicrobial protocol rounds before that. And so I was like in the middle of my second or third round, I forget. And my gut was a mess at that point. And so even like to this day, I can't tell you what exactly fixed my SIBO, whether it was the antimicrobial protocols or the yogurt or both. I have no idea. I could just say this is what I did, and this was the result. So I was in the middle of my antimicrobial protocols, and my gut was a mess. And part of that was because when you're doing the antimicrobials to kill SIBO, you want to eat some of the food that the bad bacteria eat so that the bad bacteria don't go to sleep. Because if they go to sleep, they're harder to kill. And you really want to actually kill them, not just make them hibernate.
Detoxify
And so
them.
I'm eating foods that I knew made my gut have issues because they were feeding that bad bacteria. And so I was in a rough spot, and then I found out about the yogurt, and I can't say that you should do it this way or not. I don't really, it seems like you should do, if you're going to do antimicrobials, you do them and you do the yogurt at a separate time. I did them at the same time. I'm not saying that's the right way to do it, but that's just what I did. And within 48 hours, it was like my gut was brand new again. It was crazy.
The human
And so
body
I
is
got,
amazing.
yeah, I got really fast relief from doing the yogurt, like when I initially started it. Now, I went on to do more antimicrobial rounds and like got out of the habit of doing the yogurt. And then when I started again, I didn't have as quick of a transformation, or like I didn't see the effects as quickly. So I'm not sure what was all at play there. So I'm not saying that whenever I consume the yogurt it has this effect. I'm saying when I first started consuming it, it had that effect. And then after I finished all of my antimicrobial rounds and I was eating the yogurt, it really took care of my SIBO problem. So it took care of my bloating and digestive pain and basically opened up my diet to be able to pretty much eat anything again. So that's the main thing that I have experienced from the yogurt. And I will say that even when I have stopped eating the yogurt, because I just get out of the habit of making it. So I'll go several weeks without eating it. I don't see my symptoms come back. So I feel like I really have resolved whatever root issue I had with the SIBO. And it's not like the yogurt is just like keeping it down. And then if I stop the yogurt, it comes back. It's like I dealt with whatever underlying issue I had. And now I can have the yogurt or not. And my gut doesn't, go back and forth, if that makes sense. I will say that I haven't specifically noticed like the oxytocin, mood, like all that lovey-dovey feeling you're supposed to get from the L-reuteri. I haven't noticed that specifically.
Hmm.
It wasn't like such an overwhelming effect that I was like, oh, this is so obviously from the yogurt. Yeah,
Sure.
it might be having that effect to some degree. I just can't say for sure. But the main thing is the being able to resolve my gut symptoms, my SIBO gut issues, and then at this point, I take I eat the yogurt periodically, and then I have started taking the Gut to Glow supplement that Dr. Davis sent me, and that's a much smaller amount of L-reuteri. Like he was saying in the interview that I did with him, if you want to combat SIBO, you really want to make the yogurt so you get the billions of probiotics per serving. But if you're maintaining or you just want like some skin benefits and stuff like that, you can do the smaller amount that's in the Gut to Glow supplement or in the My Reuteri supplement. And I did notice that when I started taking the Gut to Glow, my sleep seemed to get deeper. Not I already sleep really well. I already get really good
Yeah.
sleep scores and stuff like that. So it wasn't like a huge dramatic shift, but I did like my dreams are more intense. I just feel like I'm sleeping more deeply with that. There could be other things involved in that too. So there's always multiple variables, but that's one thing that I do think it affected. So gut issues, maybe sleep. That's what I got from it.
Also, I wanted to add one more benefit. It's delicious.
Oh my
So
gosh,
eating
yes.
something that is delicious is a huge benefit.
How many times have we tried to add something healthy to our diet that was just horrible?
Oh,
I
numerous,
mean,
countless.
sardines
How
come
many
to
stars are
mind.
there?
Oh
That,
goodness. I
that.
remember, like, trying to take shots of apple cider vinegar, like, oh
Do not recommend.
man,
I
when you
mean,
can
like,
get
I
health
like
benefits from something so yummy, like, life is good.
sold, sold. And it's
Yeah.
so inexpensive to make once you get it done first. I wanted to
Yes,
show Risa's question really quickly because it's
yes.
related to the Elroy.
Mhm,
She was making it in her Instant Pot Pro, but that isn't working
mhm.
right.
Oh,
She wants
no.
to make it in an older model, but you have to boil yogurt first in that one. What to do? I
Weird.
don't have a Pro model Instant Pot. what I have done is in my standard Instant Pot with the yogurt setting, if you press that yogurt button a few times, you can shift it to a couple of different options within the yogurt setting where you don't
Yeah.
have to boil first. The other thing is I do use the trivet at the bottom, and then I use the pot in pot method where
Mhm.
I use a glass bowl inside my mini and then cover it up so that the condensation doesn't just constantly like drip down onto the yogurt.
Mhm.
But I would be curious to know if whenever you press that yogurt button a few times, like does it change the options
Yes.
in that yogurt setting for you, Risa?
Yeah, that's what I've experienced too, and there are so many Instant Pot models. There could be a different
Oh,
one that
no
you're not
doubt.
aware of that does
Very
make
true.
you go through the boil, thing, but from the older models that I've had, yeah, I think it's if you press that yogurt button more than once, it'll cycle through, like,
A couple
yogurt
of
high and
settings.
low or something like that, and, you just wanna pick the lowest temperature possible, and I do find that if you don't put water in the Instant Pot, like some people will put water up to the level of the yogurt in their container. If you don't do that, it'll keep the temperature of the yogurt a little bit lower. So if your Instant Pot has the yogurt setting at 110, you don't want it that high for El Reuteri because it could kill it. But if you don't put the water in, the actual temperature of the yogurt should be a little bit less than that 110. Um, and hopefully it'll culture just fine. But if you do put the water in, it just conducts the heat more, and then you might it might get too hot. So that's the only thing I can think of there. Did she I don't see any
Okay.
thing else. Yeah. Okay. Ba, ba, ba. Eva just started making the El Reuteri 2 weeks ago. The one thing she
Yay.
noticed is a little deeper sleep. Yeah, but also suffering from gastritis and anxiety and depression and hoping this will help. Yeah, and
It
definitely give
sounds
it
like it's
time.
already doing something good.
Yeah, a lot of times we wanna see all of these, benefits immediately, but
Sure.
for stuff that's not like a pharmaceutical drug, it often takes time to see the results. So definitely, you know, encourage you just to stay strong with it and be patient for that. But yeah, hopefully you'll continue to see those little benefits and that helps you keep going. And it's so delicious. It's so easy. It's not like you're having to do some horrible thing every day. It's delicious. So, like, even if it didn't give me any health benefits, I'd probably still make it every once in a while just because it tastes so good.
Indeed.
Okay. Yeah, you can get some Tootsie Rolls from the dollar store, just hide from the kids, yes. Although my kids don't really care for Tootsie Rolls, so thankful for that.
Yeah.
Vivian says, Uh, with bone broth, I leave the carcass in water for 20 minutes with a glug of vinegar. Yes, then cook gets more of the good stuff out of the bones. Yeah, the vinegar
It's a
can
great
help
idea.
leach the collagen from the bones. So that is excellent, excellent thing to do. And like apple cider vinegar is so cheap, so it's like a
It really is.
cheap option as well. Um, Margaret says, "So happy to hear your results using the yogurt. I just started on antibiotics, have not taken them for years." So if you're starting on antibiotics for SIBO, hopefully you're doing the rifaximin. And from what I hear, it's like the best antibiotic out there as far as like pharmaceutical antibiotics. It's not as damaging as some of the antibiotics out there. So at least that's encouraging. My sister had really bad SIBO and she did rifaximin and completely healed her gut, and she can pretty much eat anything except she has celiac, so she obviously doesn't eat wheat, but, it really transformed her health. I mean, it was so bad that she said she would drink a glass of water in the morning and have digestive, like, terrible gut pain. It was really bad, and the
That is
rifaximin really
awful.
helped her, so that's some encouragement there. But definitely like adding the El Reuteri yogurt maybe after you finish the antibiotics would be a great way to replenish the good bacteria there because when you do antibiotics of any kind, you're killing everything or
Anything
a lot of
biotic.
things. And if you don't add back good stuff, it's kind of like you left the doors of your house open and anything could come in, you know? And so it's
Good or
always a good
bad.
idea to reseed with good stuff. And so that's one of the great things about the yogurt. And if people use it for SIBO, instead of killing bad stuff, it's basically like crowding out bad stuff. So it's just a completely different way of addressing the problem. And if it works, that's great, because then you don't have to worry about, bad stuff getting back in or good stuff getting killed. It's just like we're adding so much good. It's kind of like a dirty glass of water, and you just keep filling it with clean water until all
Yeah.
of the dirty water goes out. So it's a great option, but I'm definitely not saying that it will work for everybody or, will eradicate SIBO. There's all kinds of different options and ways. And obviously, I didn't even use that option fully myself. Maybe I would have if I had known about it at the beginning, but I just went down the path of the natural antibiotics, which, that's what the antimicrobials are. So
Hmm.
there's all kinds of ways to deal with these issues. Oh dear. Rats eat pork loins too. Don't ask me
I
how
think
I
she means
know.
pork rinds.
Oh, pork rinds. Okay, yes. I was like, they got in the freezer? Oh, that's bad. They ate the pork rinds. Oh,
I wonder if they eat pork rind pellets, because that's about the
ooh, yeah.
those would be pretty rough for them.
Yeah. Oh,
But
man.
they've got those super strong little
They are no fun.
teeth.
Let's see. Cindy is here and Low Carb Spin is here. Hello. Okay, Low Carb Spin says, just bought the capsules from Dr. Davis's website. I don't have an Instant Pot. Any idea on which yogurt maker to get? Do you have
The
a yogurt?
Instant Pot.
Yeah. I mean,
Listen, I am an Instant Pot believer. I don't
yeah,
have a slow cooker
right.
in my kitchen. I don't have a rice cooker because, I mean, I don't eat the rice, but the girls do. I don't have all of these different gadgets because for my life, two
Mhm.
Instant Pots is perfection. I can I've literally said in the past, as long as I have an air fryer, an Instant Pot, and an immersion blender, I can get done 90% of
Yeah.
what must be done. So if we ever
Yeah.
had like the kitchen go out, if I had access to those three things, I would
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah. Yeah. The Instant Pot is a great option, especially if you're going to use it for yogurt, because it's just so versatile for other things as well. So
Ugh, all the
I know
things.
it's a learning curve. It's kind of like when you haven't ever used one, it's intimidating, but you could
A
totally
little
do it.
bit.
I have heard that the Louvel yogurt maker is really good. I think it's Luevel. I don't know. And that's, I think maybe Dr. Davis has talked about that one. But you have to look for, if you want to do the probiotic yogurt with it, you have to make sure that it's got an adjustable temperature, because some of them are just, set too high, and that wouldn't be good for the Alroideri and others. So you just want, and it's becoming so popular now that on Amazon, I was looking at some yogurt makers, and they will put that in the description or in the title even of the yogurt maker, like 36
Wow.
hour probiotic yogurt friendly or whatever, because everyone's buying yogurt
It's
makers for
such a
that.
big deal.
Yeah. So just that's the one thing I would look for. I haven't used a yogurt maker, so I don't have an exact one. If you have a dehydrator, that might be an option. um I have heard Donna Schwick from Cultured Food Life, she mentioned something about making the Alroideri in a dehydrator, that there's the possibility of some issue, and I don't remember what it was, like some kind of a mold issue. I
Hmm.
I don't know why exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's not airtight, but the Instant Pot isn't completely airtight because it's not pressurized. So I'm
No.
not really sure. I've made the Elroy in my dehydrator a few times and it worked fine. So that's an option.
That is a really great idea because anytime that I get into the habit and into the flow of like making my stuff and things, like rendering down my tallow and
Mhm.
making my beef stock from all of my bones from our cow, or making hard boiled eggs, making like all the things. It's like, oh, I'm already in the midst of an El Royderai batch. I can't
Uh,
stop this in the midst. It'd be great. I need to test out my dehydrator with doing that so that I can free up the
yeah,
instant pots.
yeah. It is annoying when you have the Instant Pot in use for 36 hours and you can't just
Yeah, that
use
is a
it.
little bit of
So
a,
maybe
a
there is something to be
commitment.
said for. So now low carb spin, you have to get both an Instant Pot and a yogurt maker. I think that's what we've learned here.
Or get the dehydrator if you don't have that one already.
Yes.
Use that as the dehydrator and the instant pot, and then obviously an air fryer. And then obviously you should have your bases covered.
Yes, and then the other option you can use is a sous vide, because those you can
Okay.
adjust the temperature, and, a lot of people do that with success. Ketogenic Woman, Anita, has, some videos on making the El Roederei with a sous vide. So if you happen to have that, that would work as well.
Well, and a sous vide stick is a whole heap easier to store, and it's probably a little bit more mentally accessible, less
Mm.
intimidating perhaps.
Mhm.
So each
Yeah.
one of them have huge benefits. It's just a matter of what do you think. I'm all for the multi-purpose items. So
Mhm.
what do you think you might use the most frequently or find the
Yeah.
most value out of?
Yeah, and I haven't really priced sous vide sticks, but I have in my mind that they're not very expensive.
No, I know that oh, the Anova one was on sale for a
Mhm.
while there for like 60 or $50, and I really sat on that one thinking, should I, shouldn't I? And
Mhm.
by the time I was like, maybe I'll do it, it went back up to $100. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm
Yeah.
definitely not doing that.
Yeah. I don't have a sous vide. Well, I have Instant Pots that have sous vide settings, but I've never actually used them because I struggle with the idea of cooking in plastic so much.
Yes,
And so I never was, like, really gung ho about, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." It was always like, "Oh," I mean, I'd eat it if, I've eaten things that were sous vide before. I'm not gonna just say no to it, but I don't really want it to be, like, the regular way that I cook all of my food. So I just have never gotten
sure.
into it. So I've never gotten a sous vide. All right. Risa says, yeah, when I was consuming the fermented dairy, technically it is fermented dairy and not yogurt, I was sleeping
Blended
much better and my
clarification.
stomach didn't bother me. No gas, no pain. Thick and delicious. Got to make it again. Been eating Siggy's. Yeah, the Iceland. Is that the Icelandic one?
Yes,
Yeah.
skier.
Yes. That's awesome.
And
Good.
skier is really good too.
Yes.
I have a
What is the
video showing how
difference?
I made. It's made with a low, like they skim the cream so they can use that for other products, and then they convert the skim milk into Icelandic yogurt cheese. It's technically a cheese,
Hmm.
but it does have a much higher protein count, and I think it has a slightly higher carb count as well. Like that's sort of the trade-off there. But it is really good. And I have a video where I did it with Fairlife milk and it turned out delightful. And I actually use that way more than making just a regular Greek yogurt. So
Hmm.
it's pretty phenomenal.
Nice. Sing It is here, late to the party, but we'll watch to this point after.
We're glad you're here, Sing It.
Yes. Oh, and Jen says, off to blah, blah, blah. I know the topic in the stream is about making eating healthy affordable, but I got my
Which we have
first
not
half
touched
of
on
my
yet.
inheritance and bought a Ninja Creamy and a subscription from ButcherBox. That's awesome.
Hey,
I love that.
sometimes affordable means buying back your sanity and time.
Yes, and then making investments to make it affordable eventually, like
Down the road,
you get a Lindsey
100%.
Creamy, it's money up front, but if it means that you're not buying any low carb ice cream at the store anymore ever, then maybe that's the right choice, so you kind of have
Or
to think about it that way.
if Butcher Box keeps you out of the grocery store extra times per week or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yes. Okay, we should get into we've kind of gotten into our topic a little bit, making things affordable, We've touched on it,
Yeah,
but
fermenting your own dairy foods will
yes.
definitely save you some money.
Yes, and I know that again, like buying the starter supplements, that can be an investment, but
It can
if
be.
if you, take care of it, it can last for a really long time. So instead of buying bottle after bottle of probiotics and just taking the pills, if you buy the one and then you're diligent with it and don't, leave it in the sun or something, you can use it for so long. So that definitely ends up being a affordable way to do it. I also really love the half and half yogurt or fermented dairy because it turns out like full fat Greek yogurt, but you don't have to strain it. So when you
You're
make
not wasting anything.
exactly, you're not throwing away half of the volume in whey. You're actually, if you start with a quart of half and half, you end with a quart of yogurt. So I think it turns out being pretty affordable. When I've made Greek yogurt before, it's just I feel I start with a gallon of milk and then I end up with this tiny little amount. I'm like, oh, I don't think it was actually saving me any money to make it. And then considering all the time and stuff. So I do like, half and half is more expensive than regular milk, but you do get a lot for an end result. So I think it's fairly when you compare the price of half and half to the price of Greek yogurt, I think it's a pretty good deal. And then considering how beneficial it is also. The Greek yogurt from the
Yeah.
store is going to have some beneficial bacteria, but if you're using these specific probiotics, you're getting a big bang for your buck.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Reese has got to go. Let's see. Oh, nice. Margaret says that her PCP suggested yogurt and or probiotics. That's awesome that they are suggesting that because that's a
Indeed.
very holistic thing.
Approach.
Instant Pot makes the best yogurt. Do you use Fairlife milk? I have never done it with Fairlife milk. I know that that's what the two crazy ketos use, right?
And I've got a video on my channel from like forever ago where I showed, and we only buy Fairlife milk for
Okay.
our household. The girls are obsessed with milk, and
Mhm.
if I can increase the volume of protein they're consuming every time they drink milk, I'm gonna go that path because I cannot access raw milk without jumping through tremendous hoops. So buying the Fairlife is the path that we go. I have done like videos showing you how I do my Greek yogurt with the Fairlife. I did
Mhm.
my skier with the Fairlife. I have also done El Reuterai with Fairlife
Okay.
milk. It
Okay.
is thinner. It is
Yeah.
much thinner by a long shot.
Mhm.
However, if you add a little bit of gelatin to it, you can set it up a little bit thicker if you would prefer
Hmm.
that, or you can use it as like a base for your smoothies,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. And also, I like to add my Marigold collagen peptides serving to the El
Nice.
Reuterai yogurt or to any of the yogurts. So with it being a little bit thinner, it actually works out really nicely to add like flavored powders to it because
Hmm.
that helps to stiffen it up a little bit too.
Nice. Transformation in Progress says, greetings from New York City, freezing here at 32 degrees. Feels like 17. Yeah, no fun.
That's cute. That's cute. I woke up this morning and it said it was 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So, and then it
Nope,
just
no thank
dropped.
you.
It dropped down to 3 and I was like, this
Oh my
means it's gonna be
god.
lovely on the slopes when we go snowboarding again.
There you go. There you go. Okay, low carb spin got a dehydrator yesterday. Well, there you go. Try that.
Yeah.
Oh, Cindy's liking on both of our channels. Isn't she the best?
Thank you, Cindy.
Okay, this is it. This is the yogurt maker I was talking about.
The level.
Lavelle yogurt
I
maker
see
or
that
the
as level.
Louisville. Yeah, that's the
That
Texas.
there's the level.
Or ultimate probiotic yogurt maker with adjustable time and temp control. Yeah, I would like to try a yogurt maker. I think that would be a cool thing, but haven't taken the plunge yet.
I feel like I like the methods that I already have, and so I'm gonna explore the dehydrator, but then also I'm like one extra utensil or appliance would just really struggle
Yeah.
my heart for
Yeah.
the counter space or cabinet space.
All right. Well, you need to make a video about the yogurt and the dehydrator
Okay.
as you play with that. Um, Margaret says after she started on the meds, she watched my video from I can't believe it was 2 years ago that I
Isn't
was
that
doing that.
nuts?
Yeah, and it's funny because those videos are the top videos on my channel. All the ones about the Elroy yogurt. That's what everyone is watching right now, and I'm like, those are from 2 years ago.
Time to
Like,
repeat.
I guess, yeah, and I have my Reuterai supplement now, and so I need to do a new video of making it with that
Demonstrating it with
instead
that.
of, having to crush all the pills and everything. So I'm gonna do it. I just have to find a moment with a quiet kitchen,
One day
which is hard to come
more.
by around here. Uh, oh, Low Carb Spin says, I have an electric roaster, so maybe a sous vide
That would
would
be
be best. That might work.
cool.
That might work. Okay. Let's see. So I did wanna, what?
I was going to also throw in there if you have a proof setting on your oven, like a
Oh,
bread proofing
yeah.
setting, that would work, or a warming drawer. My mom has like this fancy warming drawer underneath her stove. And so like that has a bread proof setting, which I think only goes up to 105 degrees on the proof setting. So you could possibly do that as well. Okay,
Okay.
but we
Okay.
actually have a real topic aside from this really good discussion about El Reuterai, which
Yeah.
very valuable.
Yes, and it does relate because it is
It
affordable,
does.
an affordable thing to do. But talking about making things affordable, I thought we could just kinda share n maybe recipes specifically or just techniques that we use to, keep things affordable, and I already
Sure.
mentioned the main one that I had in my head was making bone broth or making broth in general. Because, like, when you, buy a chicken, or even if you buy, like, chicken thighs, bone in, skin on, um,
Yeah.
you can cut that bone out. I've done this so many times where I get the bone in, skin on. I take the skin off to make, um, chicken
Chips.
skin crisps, and then I cut the bones out. So I have my nice boneless, skinless chicken thighs to use because we like boneless, skinless chicken thighs the best. They're so good. Better than bone in. I don't know why. Um, but so
Because
I
the
have my
cook time is like half.
yeah. And so I have my boneless, skinless thighs, but then I also have a whole pile of bones to use. So you're spending less per pound, oftentimes significantly less on like bone in, skin on thighs than you would with boneless, skinless. And then you also get all of the skin to do the crisps and all of the bones to do a big pot of bone broth. And so you really can, save a lot doing that if you're just really diligent about it. Same with whole chickens. Anytime you eat a whole chicken, don't throw away the bones, put them into a bag. I oftentimes will have like a Ziploc bag in my freezer of bones, maybe like one for chicken and one for beef. And whenever someone's finished with a bone, they just throw it in there. And then you make a big pot of broth and you get all of that amazing collagen that you didn't have to spend, $25 on a
Any
bag
money.
for.
Any money
And
extra.
Yeah, and it's really good for you. So that's one huge one, because a lot of um, tips for saving money on food have to do with eating lots of cheap carbs and
True.
replacing expensive meat with cheap carbs. And so definitely there's definitely a place for that, like putting lentils in with your ground beef and things like that that can stretch things so it doesn't feel like you're eating restrictively. It still feels like you're eating a lot. And there's definitely a place for that. But I love the broth because it's just increasing the nutrition and even the protein that you're getting from the same amount of food. And so I think that's a really good one.
I agree. Like anything that you can just literally get every ounce of value out of it is going to save you tremendous money. It will cost you something though. We can't like neglect that piece. It will cost you a little bit of brain power and some time. It may be hands-off time, like making broth, sit them, on a slow cook function for 24 hours and you don't have to think about it for that long, but you do have to actually implement it. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to save dollars, you do have to spend time,
Yes,
typically
for
speaking.
sure.
So um, nothing in life is free, right?
Nope. Nope.
Okay. Something I would like to say is in order to make this way of eating more affordable, we do have to choose things that are less expensive. And there, over the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, has been this very strong push to say vegetables are only garnish. They're
Mhm.
only, like for
Fun.
fun kind of a thing. And I understand the premise because we tend to neglect a lot of those things. And, Dr. Berg had his whole like 7 to 10 cups of salad per day, plus, like whatever meat you required and fat. And
Mhm.
people were just overwhelmed by that volume of salad in order to do it right on a keto lifestyle. That the pendulum swung from a huge amount of vegetables to vegetables are absolutely unnecessary and have no value whatsoever other than entertainment. I kind of land somewhere in the middle. I really loved the idea in this camp where, oh, you don't have to eat vegetables because I was like, the only
Mhm.
stuff I really want to eat is the meat anyhow. That's not budget friendly at all. And so I would
Yeah.
say coming back to the middle, using some vegetables to bulk up your meal, like a head of cabbage is fairly inexpensive where I live. A pound and a half of like of pure ground pork is like $5.24. So
Mhm.
fairly inexpensive. And then a few seasonings, and I can saute up a half head of cabbage and then eat about, I don't know, 6 to 8 ounces of that sausage and feel very satisfied and get a couple of meals out of that. I could probably get 3 meals per for one person out of about $8 worth of food. And that to me sounds like super affordable. It does mean that I am bulking up my meal with cabbage or with
Mhm.
a vegetable.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I could spend 10 less than $10 for 3 full meals and still be getting protein and not feel like I am just trying to white knuckle my way through the day because I don't have a significant amount of volume of food.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
not treating vegetables like they are the entertainment or that they're just for fun is
Mhm.
a way to save the money because I know not everybody can go out and buy a cow or a half cow at a time,
Mhm.
whether that's financially restrictive, spatially restrictive, like there's a whole lot of those things. So something as simple as just buying a package of unadulterated ground pork and a head of cabbage,
Mhm.
it is possible. And even cheaper than that might be 18 eggs
Mhm.
and a head of cabbage. It's one of those things where we should not be turning our noses up at these vegetables that excuse me, that offer high volume
Mhm.
without breaking the bank. I mean, I'm not going to
Yes.
go out and eat a whole pile of potatoes, which would be way less expensive,
Mhm.
but I can eat a whole pile of cabbage
Mhm.
and not spend as much and feel fuller and thus able to achieve my health goals a little more consistently.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking about is fats. We kind of talked
Okay.
about protein a little bit, but with fats, there's, grandmas used to do this, and I think a lot of us are moving back towards doing this, which is great. And that is collecting fat, and not on your body. We're all really good at that, but I'm talking about like a little jar of bacon fat or bacon grease. You can do it with beef fat trimmings. So, like a lot of times, fattier cuts of meat are cheaper, and you can, if it's like got big chunks of fat, you can totally cut that off and render it down and get a good amount of tallow. You can do the same with
Hmm.
pork, and make some lard, or with bacon, it's like people just throw away half a cup of bacon grease, and it's like, you know what? You've already
Nope.
paid for that. You've already paid for it. And so if you can use that some of the time in place of butter or avocado oil, or any other oils that you might buy, that's just, I mean, it's something you've already paid for if you are eating those kinds of foods. So even, if you cook a roast in the oven and there's a puddle of fat on the bottom, don't throw it away. Put it in a jar and use it to saute your vegetables or to roast your vegetables in, and or throw in the pan before you cook the chicken breast that's leaner. So that's a really easy way where you could get away with not purchasing fat in and of itself at all if you were to, just buy a few of those fattier cuts of meat around there. That's an easy way to cut stuff out. Not that you want to cut out butter, because butter is delicious, but you don't, if you're wanting to cut back on the budget, that's one way that's easy to do.
That definitely falls in line with your first point about using those multi-purpose foods, the
Yes.
multiple use foods. I have to tell you, so we were on vacation
Hmm.
and we went to the grocery store, I think maybe twice. It was kind of expensive, but one of the things we did is we only bought 1 pound of butter for all five of us throughout the whole week.
Hmm.
And we also bought um, several pounds of bacon. And I always save my bacon fat because it's like it's liquid gold. It is so
Yeah.
much easier just to dip a spoon of that out
Yeah. It's
and
the
not
best
really worry
seasoning
about
too.
it. Oh my gosh. So I did that even on vacation. I found a little ramekin and I filtered all of that bacon fat from the pan. I like to do it in the oven so that it
Hmm.
renders the most amount of fat.
Yep.
And that's what we used all week long. I even
Yep.
did a keto chow with bacon fat. Jared and I were not as
Oh,
impressed with that,
that
but we were
that
trying not to use all the butter. But it was
what
like
flavor
one
did
of
you
those
do?
things. I did maple waffle. No,
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I was like, if I was going to do one, I'd do maple waffle.
I did maple waffle. I also did salted caramel.
Oh,
It
okay.
was not great in salted caramel.
Okay. Good
But
to
I
know.
also didn't use warm water. There's a whole there were
Mhm.
factors, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like and we wound up like just saving as much of the bacon fat as we possibly could,
Mhm.
and we wound up using all of that bacon fat. I mean, it's one of those things like that saved us. Now the butter there was pretty expensive, so it wound up
Mm,
saving us probably like $8 or more
mm.
just by rendering the fat that we were already paying for.
Yes. It's
Huge.
already yours.
It is. It is. I feel like those three tips were like some really good thought processes in general. So,
Yeah, for
maybe
sure.
a few more comments before we wrap it up today.
Absolutely. Transformation in Progress says, got an Instant Pot at Target Black Friday, $65. That is amazing. And it's often easy these days to find Instant Pots or that kind of thing at thrift stores now, since they've been around for a while and people have used them and maybe moved on to a
Cycled
new
through
model or
it.
something. And so you can find them at thrift stores oftentimes too. The 32-ounce chosen mayo at Costco is a real bargain for under $9. Wow, that is cheap. Less expensive than making it. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it used to be that, a tiny little jar was like $10 at the health food store. That was the only option. But now that, it's becoming more popular and at Costco, that's a good deal. And the convenience to not have to make it is nice.
I'm gonna stick with the convenience route of making it at home and not having to think about buying it at the store.
Yeah, yeah, it depends on what convenience you want.
That's right.
Um, let's see. Wasn't the volume for those that need to feel a full belly to get through the beginning of keto? I must tell you, it worked for me. Now ketovore, some days all meat, others bring on the fun with meat. Yes.
I do agree. I think that it does work out well in the beginning. My backstory is that my husband said you can try to eat this way, but it can't cost us any extra.
Mhm,
So buying the big giant tubs of salad, buying heads of cabbage, these very inexpensive food options,
mhm.
that was what got me through on the volume side of things, because trying to buy extra meat was just a little bit less um possible at that time. So
Yeah.
it was great for the volume.
Yep. Cynthia says buying in bulk is cheaper than buying the individual. And if you
It
are
is.
buying at a place that has an in-house butcher, they will cut it for you as well. That's a great idea. And that's another one where you do have to invest a little bit ahead of time. So it's not an
True.
option for everybody in every circumstance. But if you are able to do that, you really can save some money. I mean, and that's really what I do all the time is where I'm buying what's on sale and stocking up each time. And so, like when I have a grocery haul video, I show the groceries that I bought that week, but that's not all the groceries that we eat for the week. It's like I got 5 jars of peanut butter in my last haul. We didn't eat 5 jars of peanut butter that week. It wasn't like, "This is
What?
our
That
food for
sounds
the
like a
week."
great time.
No, no,
What?
we have the peanut butter, but we also have, the frozen veggies that I bought the other week that were on sale and the, part of the cow that we bought a few months ago, and so it's
Right.
like you instead of thinking about, oh, my 1 week grocery haul, I think about just what I'm stocking up on this week. It's kind of a different way to think about it. So I've never been able to do like meal plans where they give you the grocery shopping list for the week as if my refrigerator is empty and I go and I buy all the stuff that I'm going to use just for that 1 week. It's like that's never been the way that my kitchen has functioned.
Same. I'm
Yeah.
trying so hard to become a meal planner though, in order to
Yes.
ease my life. I'm trying so hard, but also like I know that I've got like 1,000 different things in my pantry that I don't have to
Yes.
replen.
Yeah.
So I'm trying
And
to
you can
make the most of that.
Yeah, and you can still do meal planning. You just have to shop from your own pantry.
That's right. That's
So you
right. That's
you
what I'm
can
having
totally
to
still meal plan.
it
And
d-
that's such a good thing to
just
do. I need to do it more often where I go and I look at everything and think, "What do I really need to use? And what has been sitting in the back of the pantry for too long?"
right.
Yeah. Okay, sautéed Brussels sprouts and bacon grease, the best.
Absolutely. I
Um,
love the plan of cutting your Brussies in half and then putting them on a roasting pan and then putting the rack on top and
ooh,
putting whole strips of bacon on top of
mm.
that so the bacon grease drips down and fries them while you're cooking the bacon, and then you crumble that up afterwards and look at
That
that.
sounds life-changing. Becoming
It's
friends
a
with
win.
people who can trade. We have a local
Yeah.
Facebook group that trades eggs for, or trades meat. They have hunted and killed. Oh, that's awesome.
That's a
Yeah,
way good idea.
I have heard about buy nothing groups, and I have not looked
Interesting.
into any in our area, but that's a
Sure.
great idea because then you don't have to worry about, like, people charging for stuff and not knowing if they're selling it or if they're giving it away or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Anything else we have to talk
Address.
about before we hop off? So it says, I was thinking the same thing. One of my favorite treats was the bacon long john. What is that?
Like a eclair. It's like a
Oh,
donut
oh,
that's
okay,
a
okay.
bar donut.
Ah,
Clearly, you did
Yeah,
not work at a donut shop whenever you were in school,
I
unlike
did not.
myself, who
I did
got
not.
real
Donuts
big
were
off of the
never
donuts.
really my thing. I don't
Goodness.
know why. I mean, I ate them periodically when I was a kid because when they were available, but it wasn't like one of those things where it's like, I have to have donuts. That's my favorite.
Oh,
Um,
we were not the same on that one point.
Transformation in Progress is excited to start making the El Roi yogurt. And
That's a
Margaret says,
fantastic plan.
thank you. Very helpful and inspirational. Well, you're
Well,
very
we
welcome.
appreciate you being here, um,
Yes.
very much.
Yes. And we are going to go ahead and hop off and we will be back next week. Do we still have two more?
We still have 2 more weeks in January where we can
Are
talk
we
about these things.
are we
I
going to be
was
able to
ki
stretch it that long? I'm
We
running out
are,
of ideas.
because I actually I wrote down an idea that I will tell you about privately,
Excellent. Excellent.
while y'all get to guess next week.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.